Hello, everyone. I'm Ilana Navarro. Welcome back to the Sacred Self-Worth interview series. I've got the 12-ish style Katie Sturino here with us today, live from New York. I think you're my only person I'm interviewing from New York. This is exciting.
Oh, really? Well, we're a little behind on self-care in New York, I think.
So give the audience a little bit of a background. You're a fashion blogger, entrepreneur. How did you come up with the 12 style?
I have a blog called the 12ish Style, which I started after working in fashion PR for about 8 years. I spent all that time thinking that I was too fat, not good enough. Things weren't happening because of my size. I had all of these reasons that I was blaming on my body for things not happening. And actually the website, The Man Repeller, did a story on me, like a for any size, like dressing for any size kind of story. And I saw all these women who were like, oh my God, I've never seen my body type on a blog. And I've never like had inspiration from someone who's my size in fashion. And I was like, you know what? Me neither, obviously. And it's time to change. So I was like, this is a moment. So I started the 12ish Style 3 years ago, I think so. And immediately I loved it because I was connecting with women and getting the feedback always of women just being like, oh my God, I love that you're showing yourself in a bathing suit. I've never worn a bathing suit at the beach. I'm going to this weekend. Like that kind of stuff happens all the time with me. And that's why I do it.
Yeah.
And then last June, I launched, like in that same vein of taking things that either people are feeling shameful about or feel like they're alone in having. I launched a company called Mega Babe, which it's a solutions company for women where we make a thigh chafe stick and an under boob sweat spray. We're launching a deodorant next month, and we have a couple more products launching this summer. And we're actually, I'm really trying to eliminate the shame that a lot of women feel for having these problems because we don't talk about it.
Yeah. I love it so much. I think it's so accurate that there wasn't a big representation, especially in relationship to fashion. You know, there have been a lot of plus size models that are, showing up on Instagram, but specifically how to dress for different body types. Like I hadn't seen anything before your blog and your Instagram.
Thank you. Yeah,
how do you see self-worth correlating with style? Do you see that there's a relationship?
I do, because I find that when I've done any sort of like makeover stories, it always starts out with the person feeling down about themselves and wearing all black. Now, some women just wear all black because that's their thing, but that's a different type of woman, I find. I find that some women who stick to grays or blacks are hiding in the fabric, and they need like a stretchy jersey. They don't go out of a certain silhouette. And I find that directly relates to how they're feeling about themselves.
Yeah, definitely. What was your relationship to your self-worth? Like, was self-worth something that you thought about?
Yeah, I think my self-worth very much I would say until I was 30 was all tied up in not being thin enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that meaning I'm walking into a party, I don't feel good enough because I'm so big. And that was all the time for me, just feeling like I walked into a meeting, I'm so big. And that was the filter which my brain was pushing forward. So obviously I'm feeling that I'm less than all these people. And that started with my size, because my size was dictating like how I was ranked in a room full of people, which was very bad.
Yeah. And what clicked for you? What clicked for you that said, you know what, I've had enough. I need to do something about this.
It sounds crazy, but it was really that Man Repeller article and just reading comments from people being like, I've never seen someone look like me. And it's like I hate to say this, but it's like an Oprah moment, like the aha moment. The lights went on and I was like, I'm not the only person who's a 12 or a 14 or a 16. There are other people out there that are these sizes that work in industries and have lives. And I had just felt like such a freak because I was in this like small bubble. And as soon as the lights went on and I realized that, everything started to tumble into place. And very quickly, I started to connect the fact that the size 0 girl, the size 2 girl, the size 6 girl, they all have problems. They're not happy with their body. Like none of those things made sense to me until that moment. And then I wanted to share that feeling with everyone.
Mm-hmm. What shifted for you when you started this blog, started to have feedback from people? What did you notice with yourself?
I noticed that I was comfortable wearing anything. I started to wear the things that made me happy, even though they didn't make sense. It makes sense in terms of like flattering. I think the word flattering comes up a lot.
Okay.
Because I don't necessarily wear clothes that are flattering all the time. I wear clothes that make me happy and then I like the look of.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. So that's a real thing because women are taught to dress in a way that is flattering. And I don't mean that you should look gross. I mean, it's more about how you feel, right? So if I feel amazing in a big old baggy caftan, then that's what I'll wear, or in a mini skirt that like is a little too short.
Yeah.
Like, so but I'm fine with that. And those are the things that have changed for me is I don't care what you think.
Uh-huh.
And that's the main thing is it's more about how I'm feeling and people's judgments, and even more so on social media because you are exposing yourself to so much judgment on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's made me own my actions and who I am even more.
How do you mean?
I'll say even Botox is something that I think that people lie about doing certain things, or they want to keep a certain persona or a certain, they want to make everything look perfect or just show like how amazing their life is in a certain way. And I think that I've really embraced the realness around my life. Mm-hmm. And I've stopped trying to show this persona or this facade of perfection, which I don't have. And I expose what I don't know. I just kind of live my truth, if that makes sense. And that feels really good.
Yeah.
It feels really good not to have to pretend.
Yeah. And that's been
and the Botox thing, I'm sorry, the Botox thing was that is that right now, like on social media, celebrities, everyone does these crazy facial treatments that, like, I don't know, either they don't talk about or people just don't know about it, and everyone walks around feeling bad that they don't look like a certain way, but there's a reason that these people look a certain way. Yeah. So like, let's talk about it, right? So that you don't say like, why don't I look like that? It's that girl looks like that because she's like had like 4 surgeries, and like that's why she looks like that. You can look like that too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my feeling about the authenticity.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say, is that's been a theme through this whole series. Everyone I talk to, when I ask them like, what is your experience with self-worth? It's really like allowing me to be my most authentic self and be true to myself. And like, worthiness is not a state that you reach like, okay, now I'm perfect and I'm worthy. You are worthy at all times.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important piece.
Yeah. And that extends obviously into your relationships and your relationship with yourself. And I don't know, it's certainly, it's not an easy thing to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you deal with, I assume there, because you put yourself out there so much with social media, are there people that are more negative or aren't in alignment with this belief of
Sure.
like, how do you deal with that?
Well, whenever someone calls me fat, it's always a man, and they're always like it's a private account, and a lot of times you can see they have kids. It's the oddest thing.
Wow.
Um, but it's very interesting to me that they take the time to like just let you know that they think you're fat.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Like that doesn't bother me. Like now, if I were me at 22, someone calling me fat, I'm devastated. And
Yeah.
I was 50 pounds lighter
Wow.
then.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's all about just knowing what's important, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hear that so much. Sarah Sapporo was one of the people that was interviewed also. And, she's got Sarah Plus Life, and just, it's, it's so much, it's really sad how much hatred is spewed out. And like you said,
Yeah.
like you're taking time out of your day to spew hate.
Yeah.
Like, what is the purpose of that? And that comes from within them. It has nothing, you just happen to be in the wrong
No.
place at the wrong time,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
it's just like, it blows my mind.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I also I try not to talk shit about people on my Instagram also. Like
Yeah.
if I had a particularly not great meal, or if I don't know, like I don't take the time to be like, this place sucked, don't go here.
Right.
Or like, I hate this line, they don't carry my size. Like I don't put it out there.
Yeah. You get what you focus on. So if you're constantly
Yeah.
looking for the negative, you'll find it and you'll just get
Yeah.
more of it. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. What are some of your favorite tips for people that are just starting to feel comfortable in their body and explore different kinds of styles, and how to express themselves, how to express that worthiness through clothes?
Well, the first thing I would do, I think identifying people, I mean, it's the step one before the closet. It's identifying people in your life who make you uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And that for me is always a challenge when someone comes into my life who I get a weird feeling around, or I can't quite be myself around. That's something to pay attention to. Um, that's your spirit telling you something is wrong, right? It's your intuition. Woo!
Hey now. Technical difficulties over here.
Yeah, I mean, that is your intuition telling you that something doesn't mesh with that person. And so those types of energies around you are going to keep you in your box, because they're going to like zap you or affect you or something. Like that's been an important lesson for me.
Yeah.
And that applies to getting dressed, because you need to first of all say like, what anyone says doesn't matter. This makes me happy. So identifying things that make you happy in your closet, step one. What color do you like? What patterns do you like? Do you like a certain style? Do you like a celebrity style? Like I like, and even if a woman is like, oh, I love the way that Jessica Alba dresses, but I could never dress like her, she has such a petite frame. We can change that mindset by just showing you that it can be done. But it's about identifying what you like first. Even though you're in all black and you have all black and gray in your closet, it's just, let's identify what you like out there.
Mm-hmm.
And don't tell yourself no before you do it.
Yeah. And that's
Right?
actually really interesting because, I'm sure, people that are familiar with your feed, you show like an outfit that maybe someone would look at and be like, oh my God, I could never.
Yeah.
And then you show like actually what you can do with it. And
Yeah.
I never thought of thinking like that. I think my mind in the past would have gone to like, what works for my body, not what do I like.
Yeah, exactly. What do you like?
Yeah.
And let's get rid of that idea of certain things aren't for you.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Right?
Who are
Yeah.
some of your inspirations? Like, where do you get this drive and like power and confidence from?
Well, in terms of style inspiration, I love I love a lot of the fashion people. I don't necessarily love a lot of the celebrity style. I think a lot of the celebrity style is inspired from stylists who are inspired from fashion people. So it still for me goes back to those like Giovanna Battaglia or I don't know, that just those girls who are this big and wearing Gucci all the time. Like they're still for me inspirational. And in terms of where do women that I'm inspired by, I know that people will say that this is the opposite thing, but I get a lot of my inspiration from Instagram. Like I look at a girl who's like, yeah, like we just raised funding on my company, and I'm like, damn, okay, like I like, even though I don't know you, or maybe I do know you, it's really inspiring to watch women grow their businesses, grow their personal brands, like just excel and move. And that for me is like, I'm really empowered by watching other people do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's next for you? What are you working on? What are you hoping to create?
Mega Babe we've got a lot of things. We've got a lot of things in the works. We're going to be available in some nationwide retailers starting in April, and I'm developing more products right now, and I am really excited about that. That just like I wake up every day and I'm like, ooh, like how can we help? So that's very cool for me. And I don't know if anyone will ever like make a swimsuit line with me. I would really like it because I'd live in a swimsuit if I could.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What
What about you? What
do
what do you think is missing in the product market? Is there anything that you need? Can I solve a problem for you?
It's a great question. I'm gonna put that out to the audience too, and we'll get some feedback.
Yeah, please let me know what you
That sounds
need.
like a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my mind kind of stops at like the fashion mark, but that's so true. Like all the Mega Bay products that you have, that
Yeah.
like those solve very shameful like
God.
problems for people that should not be shameful at all.
No. It's
Yeah.
like people whisper to me, they're like, I have thigh chain.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, a lot of people do. That's why I made this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't have to have it, and you don't have to use Gold Bond.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that is my thing is, how embarrassing is it to pull out like a men's product that was never made for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that no one's thought of this before and
Yeah.
done it in such a relatable way. Again, like, you're speaking from experience. It's not someone that has no idea and can't relate trying to
Right.
sell you something.
No. And talking to men about this is like the worst, because I have had to talk to different manufacturers and different men in the business part of this. And it's like, they're like, that's not a thing. And I'm like, oh, it's not a thing. Like,
Hilarious.
no, it's just very interesting.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
How the people, you talked a little bit about, the people that you surround yourself with, and that's really important to you. Do you guys talk about self-worth, self-acceptance? Is that like something that you have in conversation, or is it more just touched
I
upon?
talk about self-care.
Okay.
Talk about self-care a lot. So, and I think self-care and that it's all bundled into that
Yep.
type of thing. That self-worth is hard to talk about in a casual way, I think, because you can have friends who are like, hey girl, like you're worth more than that. Like, get out of this relationship, just to get out of that job.
Yeah.
And I think in that context, yes, you can identify when someone isn't seeing their potential or is, and you're like, oh, good job. You did what you were supposed to do. But I think most common discussion we have is about self-care, which,
What are some of your favorite self-care
you know
things?
what? I'm kind of bad at it. I think that's why I talk about it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you're supposed to do things like take a bath, and I don't know. I'm still confused about what if like watching TV is self-care or if it has to be like meditation. I'm still confused on the topic, but that's a whole nother
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think at the end of the day, it's like what you said about clothes. It's how you feel. So if watching TV makes you feel content, good, at peace, rejuvenated,
Right.
go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Kind of love it. Yeah.
Can you give a little shout out to all your blogs, social media, how people can find you?
Yeah. I'm at the 12ish style, and then it's the 1, 2 numbers are in there. And then Mega Babe on Instagram. Um, don't forget about my dogs, Toast Meets World, Underpants the dog, and Muppets Revenge.
Love it. Love it so much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for your time and thank you for what you're doing. I am such a big fan.
Oh, thank you. I love this, and thank
Yeah.
you for putting so much good out there.
Yeah. Thank you. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you got some tips and inspiration, and go check out her Instagram and just see what you can do with fashion. It's incredible. It's so inspiring.
And then send your pictures to me.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye.